had just come in off of a ship, and it was on the beach, and this officer come running down there hollering about the Germans making a counterattack. We're going to fight to the last man. They're not going to push us back in the sea. And I figured, well, that's going to happen because if he's coming from this way with all of these tanks and mortar and all of that, and the channel is behind me and I can't swim it, so the only thing left to do is the best you can. But he just never got that far. So, yeah, I managed to, like I say, survive. I actually landed on the Utah beach, and we landed there about 5 o'clock in the evening, and we dropped all of our gear, and then we had to march from the Utah to the Omaha, which took 5 in the evening till 5 in the morning. We kept getting lost and everything. And, well, it was blackout, and you're just walking, and the officers didn't know anything about it. And when we get to a checkpoint, they would tell us to shut up because we was in the front lines and we was making too much noise. And then by the time we get to the Omaha Beach, well, there was no shelter. Only thing we had was a raincoat. Well, when we dropped our stuff, we kept our ammo, rifle, entrenching tools, and gas masks, and a raincoat. And then by the time we got to the Omaha, they told us just get out there and stretch out and go to sleep. So it was wet and cold and all that. You just lay on the ground and that's it. And because it got there late enough where I missed old Betcheck Charlie. So I didn't know he'd come down through there at 11 o'clock every night. Boy, that was a sight to behold. But, like I said, 11 o'clock, he's coming. And, and he was strafing all down through there. And they put enough gunfire up there where you could read a newspaper but from the flashes and also from the tracers. I never saw him get hit. But, just every night at 11 o'clock, dig a hole and crawl in because he's coming. And any time when you ever saw a dogfight, it was so high up, all you could just see just little blinking lights, which would be machine gun fire. And they'd be going round and round up there, but I couldn't tell one plane from the other. But yeah, it was busy down there for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then it kind of. But the thing that got me, I just glad I didn't go down there on the first day, because when I got down there, the bodies were still coming in with the tide, It was something else. You had to sit there, and then when I'm walking back there in the hedgerows, I don't know why I would be going there anyhow, but you would find body parts and all that kind of stuff, and all you could do was smell of death the whole time I was over there. But yeah, I stayed on the beach for quite a while till the front had moved off so far, until that's when they started up the red ball to get to the front. Now, my older brother, he was in, he was in the cavalry, but they changed to the mechanized cavalry. So that means he was running all the way to the front. He was he was driving. And he used to tell me about, dodging shells and things like that, but I never had that problem. But yeah, another thing too, while I was down there, I guess the breakout was at St. Lo, and that happened in July. And for some odd reason, I decided, because I don't know how I was back there, but I was sitting on a hill looking down into St. Lo, and I was watching those bombers come. And you see a bomber stream is just as far as you could see. I watched them for an hour. They bombed that place to pieces. And I figured, I said, well, nobody lived through it, but I guess they come out fighting. But that was where the breakout was. They broke out from the Bocage country on out into the, and that's when, actually I landed over there before Patton did. So Patton come in later, than I did. But anyhow, that's where he come up down through there, and that's where he come through opening, hitting out to the open country. So then they decided to go to Luxembourg and the Ardennes to set up a big dump. And so anyhow, I got there around the 1st of December. And so one day, about a couple of days later, a couple of us decided to go wandering off. And we looked down in the valley and we could see an airfield. And these planes were taking off and starting to fire and everything. And so anyhow, we said, I wonder what's going on. I said, it's probably target practice. Well, this was the 15th of December, I found out later. That was the beginning of the Battle of the Bulge. And so when we get back to camp, they're loading up, scattering, trying to get out. And our supplies went one way and we went another. And so in there we get further down into the forest. And so anyhow, they didn't have any, they left so fast. The cook was with our outfit, but the supplies were somewhere else. And so I was hungry. I decided to go hunting. And it's the dumbest thing I ever did. I wandered off by myself. And I looked around. All I could see was wrecked airplanes and things. Was nothing moving. There wasn't a bird. There wasn't a rabbit. There was nothing. And I got lost. And it took me about 4 hours to find my way back. And then so when we left there, we made it all the way back to Liège, Belgium. Well, I don't know whether you ever heard of buzz bombs or not, but they were V1s. They were, jet bombs. And they fly about 400 miles an hour. And they started coming in. I counted 100 of them one day. And it just luck. And, you'd be one place and the bomb fall over there, you go back there, and it wouldn't have fell where you just left from. After a while, it kind of gets on your nerves, And I don't know, it was 2 times I thought I wasn't going to make it. One of them, there's 3 of us, we were in the, had to go to the dispensary. It was up on a hill. And I heard this one coming in, and I heard it shut off. Well, that's when you're worried. And so anyway, it carried an 1,800-pound warhead in it. And so when the thing shut off, and I could hear it coming with the air rushing past it, And so 3 of us ran up under a table, and the other guy ran for the door. When it hit, him, door and all, went across the room, And the only thing I got shook up on that one. And I made it through that. And then so a couple of days later, I was out there, loading the trucks and things. And this one come in, and I watched, and I'm looking up, and it shut off, and I jumped in the foxhole. And anyhow, it looked like a foxhole about 4 foot deep. And it looked like he picked me out. All I could see was this thing coming down. But it leveled off and smacked inside of the mountain, And I was under that, I guess, for about, I don't know how long. Can't remember it because I was too worried about the bombs. Yeah. And it was fun at night because they was 24/7. They sent them during the day and night. And you go try to get a little sleep. And about the time you doze off, you hear that thing come roaring in there, and you said, just keep going. But I know I left there in March, and I guess we was going to cross the Rhine River. And so I think we crossed up near Remagen, and that was the first crossing place, was in Remagen. That's where they had the bridge that was eventually fell. They got across it, but the thing eventually fell, so I crossed below there on a pontoon bridge. And the only thing I was looking for was fighter planes, and you're going across, that it's so swift and cold, you wasn't going to last if you fell in it. So anyhow, we get across there, and nothing happened. And then we moved on to some little, I think it was Wegberg, Germany. It was just a village, more or less. And the thing that surprised me that, what they did, the officer come in and he tells the sergeant, go down and tell the first 5 houses they had to move out because rather for them to sleep out than for us. And I got to Hanover maybe about a day or so after it was liberated. So we get there, and anyhow, I seen all these GIs stand around and civilians, and I said, what are you guys doing? And they said, well, there's a concentration camp here, and they said, what it is, the Germans had run all these people in this building and set them on fire, and they set out their machine guns and gunned them down. And so they gathered up all the civilians, and to make them go in there, pick up the people and take them and bury them. And I said, well, I didn't want to see that, so I just went on. And then there we had a stockade where we had German prisoners. Well, I never had to work that guard duty on that one. I don't even remember what I was doing. Probably nothing. Probably dodging work, I guess. But anyhow, it was getting close to the end of the war, about 2 or 3 days for the end, and I decided to go for a walk. And I get on the highway, and I see this column of soldiers coming, and I just assumed they was American. And when they got close, they weren't. So I made it back to camp, and I said, the Germans coming, everybody's falling out with their rifles and things. They were trying to surrender. So when we got there, they told them, the sergeant told them, said, we don't have room, you have to go to the next camp, and turn yourself in down there. But that's where I ended the war at, was right there in Hanover, Germany. But
would you say it's made you the man you are today, or do you not think it has any?
Well, I tell you, I guess I don't know. I don't think I changed much, because I always just judge people by what they were, and that's it. And I don't, try to prejudge anybody. Never did.